It started with a single slap. He hit his daughter out of anger, and from that moment, everything began to unravel. His wife, Kokoro, who hadn't touched him in over a decade, suddenly offered herself to him, desperate to reconnect. But as she reached for him, he pushed her away. His mind was full of someone else. He wrapped a blanket around her shoulders and left the room. To Kokoro, it was the ultimate humiliation. Broken and ashamed, she collapsed onto the bed. That's when the phone rang. On the other end was Dino, her daughter's homeroom teacher, and the man who'd secretly been in love with her. The moment they met, Dino walked up to Kokoro and boldly pressed a strip of yellow tape between her and her husband, then ripped it off. It was symbolic. There were boundaries between her and her husband, but between her and Dino, nothing. Overwhelmed and emotionally fragile, Kokoro fell into his arms. But what she didn't know was that Dino had planned everything. The day he visited their home, he secretly placed a listening device under their living room couch. Every word, every argument, he was listening, and he wasn't the only one with a secret plan. Meanwhile, their daughter Ichika was being watched too. Her classmate, Karafu, had a quiet crush on her. One day, while going through old family photos, he noticed something odd. Their family portrait had been taken at the city zoo. Curious, he invited Ichika to visit the zoo with him. They laughed, talked, and for a brief moment, forgot about the world. But they weren't alone. A girl with pigtails, who had a jealous obsession with Karafu, followed them. When she saw them together, her jealousy boiled over into rage. Back at school, she used audio footage from Dino's surveillance to blackmail 3 boys. Together, they carried out her twisted revenge. During class, one boy spilled water on Ichika's seat, then soaked her skirt. In front of everyone, he shouted, "She peed her pants." Laughter exploded through the room. Ichika stood frozen in humiliation. Karafu stepped forward. For a moment, she thought he'd defend her, but instead, he smiled awkwardly and said, "Come on, who hasn't peed their pants before?" It shattered her. Ichika ran from the classroom in tears. Later that day, when she skipped school, her mother assumed she was upset over a crush. Ichika, fed up with the constant misunderstandings, pushed her mom in anger. That's when her father returned, and without hesitation, slapped her across the face. It was the first time he'd ever hit her. She stormed out, tears blinding her eyes. But strangely, that moment of violence sparked something in Kokoro. She saw strength. She saw a man again. Desperate to mend their relationship, she tried once more to seduce him, but was rejected again. Her husband's heart belonged elsewhere. Rejected and hollow, Kokoro leaned back into Dino's comforting lies. Meanwhile, Ichika, broken and confused, returned to Karafu. This time, he was gentle. He kissed her softly and told her not to give up, not on herself, not on her family. Fueled by his words, Ichika made a bold decision. She searched the house for clues and, under her mother's bed, found a small wooden box. Inside was a single, old boy's shoe. A chill ran down her spine. She had never seen it before. The next morning, she went to the city registry office and pulled her family's records. What she discovered was beyond belief. She had a twin brother. She rushed home, slammed the papers down in front of her mother, and demanded answers. Kokoro went pale. She tried to lie, but couldn't. Years ago, when Ichika and her brother were 6, the family had gone to the zoo. In the chaos of the crowd, her brother vanished. They searched everywhere, but all the police found was a small boy's shoe floating downstream in the nearby river. They declared him dead. But Kokoro never believed it. She cried every night. Her husband, trying to comfort her, once whispered, "We still have Ichika." That simple sentence shattered her spirit. In a silent act of rebellion against her grief, she began using yellow tape to divide the house. She taped down the bedroom, the hallway, the dining room. Invisible lines, emotional barriers. That was the real mystery of the yellow tape. And that cropped family photo? The part that was cut out was where her twin brother once stood. Back in the present, more chaos unfolded. Photos of Kokoro and Dino, embracing in secret, leaked online. Someone had been spying, and now, their private moments were public. When Ichika saw the photos, she snapped again. Another fight. Another shove. Her father walked in once more, and once again, slapped her. But this time, guilt overwhelmed him. The house was no longer a home. It was a battlefield of silence, secrets, and sorrow. Kokoro made one final attempt to fix everything. She offered herself to her husband, body and soul, but he gently turned her down. He was done, and in that moment, so was she. Ichika stood in the middle of the living room, staring at the yellow tape across the floor. A box in her hands. A brother she never met. A past she never asked for. But now, she finally knew the truth. And sometimes, the truth is the only thing strong enough to cut through the tape.